Welcome to my little corner of the internet, where we celebrate creativity and growth. Welcome, friends, to our video dedicated to Paraclete. Let's dive right in and uncover its wonders. Paraclete is a Christian biblical term occurring 5 times in the Johannine texts of the New Testament. In Christian theology, the word commonly refers to the Holy Spirit and is translated as advocate, counselor, or helper. Moving forward, we'll be taking a closer look at etymology. The English term Paraclete comes from the Koine Greek word, a combination of besidolongsid and to call. The word first appears in the Bible in John 2:16. Kiefer further explains the development of the meaning of this term. The word is a verbal adjective, often used of one called to help in a lockout. In the Jewish tradition, the word was transcribed with Hebrew letters and used for angels, prophets, and the just as advocates before God's court. The word also acquired the meaning of one who consoles. Job, Thudotion's, and Aquila's translations, the LXX has the correct word. It is probably wrong to explain the Johannine on the basis of only one religious background. The word is filled with a complex meaning. The Spirit replaces Jesus, is an advocate and a witness, but also consoles the disciples. Get ready for an enlightening exploration as we dig into Latin etymological precedent and understand its role in the broader context. Lachlan Schulfer suggests that the Greek term Paraclete is a translation of the preceding Latin term. Any independent meaning of its own, it is in fact a calque for the Latin term meaning a person of high social standing who speaks on behalf of a defendant in a court of law before a judge. When Greeks came into contact with the Roman Empire, the word was developed as a precise equivalent to the Latin legal term. Thus, its significance must be found not only in its very few extant appearances, but also in the specific use of the Latin legal term. As we enter this new chapter, let's navigate the complexities of classical Greek and unravel its multifaceted nature. The term is not common in non-Jewish texts. The best-known use is by Demosthenes. A Greek-English lexicon, apart from Demosthenes above, cites also the example of a slave summoned as a help. As we move forward, let's uncover the untold stories and fascinating intricacies of Judaism. Philo speaks several times of Paraclete advocates primarily in the sense of human intercessors. The word later went from Hellenistic Jewish writing into rabbinic literature. Other words are used to translate the Hebrew word comforter and. In the upcoming section, we'll be dissecting in Christianity and exploring its intricate connections to our topic. In the Christian New Testament, Paraclete appears only in the Johannine texts, and it is used only on 5 occasions: Gospel of John 2:16, 2:26, 3:26, and First Epistle of John chapter 2, verse 1. In John 2:16-17, Paraclete is and Spirit is, meaning breath, appears over 250 times in the Christian New Testament, and is the word used to refer to the Holy Spirit, i.e., the Spirit of God. As a result of the immediate explanation in John 2:17, the Paraclete in John 2:16 is considered to be the Holy Spirit. The New Testament Studies, a peer-reviewed academic journal published by Cambridge University Press, describes a striking similarity between the defined attributes of what the Paraclete is and is to do, and what the outcome of Christian prophecy has spoken to, explaining the Paraclete as the post-Passover gift of the Holy Spirit. The Paraclete represents the Spirit as manifested in a particular way, as a pneumatic Christian speech charisma. Every verb describing the ministry of the Paraclete is directly related to his speech function. The early church identified the Paraclete as the Holy Spirit. In first-century Jewish and Christian understanding, the presence of the Holy Spirit is to claim the rebirth of prophecy. During his period as a hermit in the mid-12th century, Peter Abelard dedicated his chapel to the Paraclete because I had come there as a fugitive and, in the depths of my despair, was granted some comfort by the grace of God. Today, the Holy Spirit continues to be referred to as the Paraclete in a prayer known as the Divine Praises, recited during benediction of the Blessed Sacrament. Moving on to the next segment, we have scholarly interpretations. quotes Jesus as saying another Paraclete will come to help his disciples, implying, according to Lawrence Lutbier, that Jesus is the first and primary Paraclete. In Jesus himself is called Paraclete. Raymond Brown 1970, supported by George Johnston 2005, also says that the another Paraclete of John 2:16 is in many ways another Jesus, the presence of Jesus after Jesus ascends to his Father. The Gospel of Matthew twice uses the passive form of the corresponding verb, into 18 and. In both instances, the context is of mourning, and the meaning of the verb is to be comforted. As we enter this new phase, let's analyze Paraclete first appearing in Gospel from different angles and evaluate its significance. Here is the context of the passage in John 2:15-27 with the translation of Paraclete as advocate shown in bold. In the upcoming section, we'll be shining a light on in Islam. Many Muslim writers have argued that another Paraclete, John first being Jesus, refers to Muhammad. This claim is based on Quran. A few Muslim commentators, such as David Benjamin Keldany 1928, have argued the theory that the original coined Greek used was, meaning famed, illustrious, or praiseworthy, rendered in Arabic as another name of Muhammad, and that this was substituted by Christians with. There are currently no known Greek manuscripts with this reading or extant Greek manuscripts read, although the earliest manuscript evidence available is from the 3rd century. Regarding what the original Greek term was, according to Guthrie and East, Fahrenheit, Bishop John Anthony agrees that the connection of Ahmad to the Paraclete in the Gospel of John may have been a later tradition that is not found in the work of Ibn Ishaq, and that the earliest extant attempts by Muslims to connect these two figures that inspired later discussion on the subject goes back to Ibn Hisham and Ibn Taymiyyah. A later interpolation of this passage to the Quran has been rejected in modern Islamic studies. This has been supported by the fact that the earliest as well as the later manuscripts of the Quran contain the same passage and wording in Surah 61. Now, let's delve into the intricacies of historical development and explore its various aspects. In Yuan's version of the correspondence between the Byzantine Emperor Leo I and the Umayyad Caliph Umar II, a letter is attributed to Leo. By the 8th, the identification of the Paraclete with Muhammad was already a known concept. Evidence shows that the Abbasid Caliph Al-Mahdi debated the concept with the influential Christian patriarch Timothy AD 823. The Persian theologian Ali al-Tabari d. 870 believed that only Muhammad could have been the Paraclete since he taught people what they previously didn't know. The Syrian scholar Ibn Abi Talib al-Dimashqi d. 1327 asserts that the verses were generally believed to be about the coming of a prophet, until the reign of Constantine I, when the Christian priests altered the verses to refer to the Holy Spirit, fearing that Constantine would recognize the true faith. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss an update from my channel.